menopause is about hot flashes, night sweats, headaches. Well, would you believe there's over 50 different symptoms of menopause? And in this video, we're going to discover some of the secret menopause symptoms that are also really scuppering your chance of weight loss. And most people don't even realise that they are a menopause symptom. And I had all of these. Hello fam, and welcome to my channel. My name's Melissa Neal, and this channel is all about helping you if you're a woman over 40 or like me over 50, and I'm 57 now, get in absolutely incredible shape no matter what your age. Maybe you're in your 40s, 50s and 60s. But one of the things that changes with our bodies is our hormones start depleting. And if you're watching this and you're going through perimenopause, menopause, or maybe you're like me and you're postmenopause, all of this is going to apply to you. And these are kind of secret, lesser known, surprising and even shocking symptoms of menopause. And once you get on top of this, you're going to be able to strip body fat. You're going to be able to lose around about 20 pounds. We're going to hear from someone that lost 19 pounds by getting on top of these symptoms. And you're going to hear right at the end how you can take part in my 8-week transformation challenge and bag yourself $20,000. So that is absolutely incredible, but also $20,000 and a banging new body where you've kind of stripped the fat and got lean and everything. And you might be wondering, well, what qualifies me to talk about this? Well, not only have I transformed my own body, so I've kind of gone from fat to fit, and I kind of lost probably about 20 pounds in doing that. I've also helped over 10,000 women who have joined one of my programs not just visibly on the outside look better, but more importantly, feel amazing on the inside. Feel healthier, happier, fitter, and everything else, more confident even. So let's get into it. Let's talk about these secret menopause symptoms that are holding you back from reaching your goal. So the first symptom is sleep disruption. Sleep disruption is massive because what happens when you actually start to go into the phase of perimenopause is one of the first signs, one of the first symptoms is you're going to start waking up more at night. Have you experienced that? Let me know in the comments. I know I experienced that, this waking up at like 3 a.m. and not being able to go back to sleep. And nobody told me that it was to do with perimenopause. I'd heard lots of stuff, and we'd even had, big awareness raising in my workplace where I was working at the time about menopause. And they talk about like hot flashes, and then this woman would say like, oh, I have to go into a room and then throw open all the windows. And I thought, well, that's it, that's menopause, and I'm not experiencing that. But I actually was, because I was waking up in the night, and that is the first sign of perimenopause, one of the first signs. And it's gonna really scupper your chance of losing belly fat if you're not sleeping at night, and it may even result in you retaining more fat around your midsection. So did you know that was actually to do with sleep? I know I didn't know until I started educating myself about this. So what can you do about it? Well, you want to get some sleep hygiene into your routine. A lot of doctors talk about sleep hygiene, and of course in the modern day world we have terrible sleep hygiene, don't we? So we're scrolling through on like TikTok or Instagram, aren't we? Or even here, shorts here on YouTube. We're scrolling through with holding like the phone really close to our face, and we're doing that late at night. We might even do it when we wake up in the night. Let me know if you do that, because that is actually a big problem. Screen time gives off this blue light that's really stimulating, and even if you get to sleep okay at the start of the night, you actually find it can make you wake up later in the night, the early hours of the morning, the more of that you do. So you want to lose that an hour before bedtime, that close screen time. I know with me, what I actually do is, and this is an Apple phone, but I'm sure you can do it on Android, is I've got it set up on the settings so it sleeps after a certain time. So for me, that's 10 o'clock at night, it sleeps. So I can't get any messages. If you're trying to message me after 10 o'clock at night, that's why you don't get an answer. I don't get any messages, and you can actually set it up so you can set it up for emergencies. So if it's my kids trying to contact me, then they can still get through. Then I kind of put it down so it's face down after a certain time of night. Might be 9:30, 9 o'clock, maybe an hour or half an hour before you go to bed. And that's going to really help. So that's the first thing. And don't, whatever you do, wake up at night and then get on your phone, because that's not the best way of getting back to sleep. The other thing is, with your sleep hygiene, I would highly recommend sleeping according to the circadian rhythm. So what does that mean? It means going to bed when it's dark and getting up when it's light. So, this kind of partying all night long and all that sort of stuff, as we reach our 40s and 50s, that should be reserved for special occasions. And staying up late at night, unless it's your job, maybe you work shift work, then you can't do it. Some people actually wear a mask at night that really helps them to sleep. Some people wear a weighted blanket. Now, I started off with a weighted blanket, and then because I was getting night sweats, I had to stop that. But if you're not getting the other symptoms like hot flashes and night sweats, a weighted blanket can work really well. Having a set routine, so you're like a baby. When you have a baby, what do you do to help it sleep at night? Well, you get it into an amazing routine, don't you? So you get it to bed, it's maybe 6 or 7 o'clock at night, isn't it? You get it to bed and then you get it waking up at the same time. It will usually wake up anyway, the baby, but that will mean it's got this sort of pattern, so the same as us, the same time every night. And then you have this winding down time, don't you? Like I used to give my baby a baby massage. Or it could be that you wouldn't necessarily be able to have someone massage you every night, but that would be amazing, wouldn't it? But you could have like some lavender oil or something like that, have a bath. You have a sequence of steps. So your body knows the cues. It knows when it's sleep time, and then it knows when you're going to get up. And if you can set that regular routine, I promise you, it's going to make it a lot better. It won't necessarily be perfect. So if that's not working, you can look at supplementation. I love CBD oil. I also have taken ashwagandha, which is really helpful. And you can find an amino acid called L-theanine, which you can take with ashwagandha. There's a doctor I work with, Dr. Natasha Ryan, she recommends that combination. You can also look at melatonin and valerian root. Now, I wouldn't take all of those. The only ones you want to take together is probably ashwagandha and L-theanine. The other ones, try each one and see what works for you. And, you can often find you can get an amazing night's sleep. And then there's a hack really that's not necessarily associated with sleep, and that's magnesium. So when my clients are sleeping poorly, the first thing I say to them is take magnesium, and some women do find that is an absolute game changer. Now, you can get that in the form of tablet and oil or cream that you rub onto yourself nowadays, so that can really be helpful. The second secret symptom of menopause is unexplained weight gain. I would say I find it rare that I come across a woman that hasn't experienced this. Almost every woman, even if you were slim all your life, what's going to happen is you're going to gain this fat around your midsection, and that certainly did happen to me. And you know, it can even be more than around your midsection. It can be, you know, it can be arm fat, it can be back fat, it can sit on your thighs, but the fat that occurs around your midsection, that's a big problem, because mostly that's going to be visceral fat, and so it's going to be detrimental to your overall health. So you do need to tackle it and do something about it. The reason we get this fat around our midsection when we hit perimenopause and menopause and even postmenopause is your hormones are depleting. So your estrogen levels are depleting, and your body's trying to make more estrogen, and it does that, and what happens is it does that by producing fat. But when you were younger, the fat would like store around your thighs and your buttocks, and now it stores around your midsection, so it's really frustrating. But the way that you tackle menopause weight gain isn't by just dieting down more and more and more, so you're on low calories, really low calories, say like 1200 calories, 1000 calories. I know some people do 800 calories, or they do 24-hour fasting, where that's the kind of hour, you know, calorie intake you're going to take, and that's just a miserable existence. And often people report to me before they join one of my programs, well, my calories are really low and my figure isn't where it wants to be. I'm still unhappy. So you've got that double-edged sword, haven't you, where you're starving yourself and yet you're still not where you want to be. So what you want to do instead with your diet is actually take in plenty of protein. So protein at every single meal and snack. You want to be doing complex carbohydrates rather than refined carbohydrates. So you want to kind of lose the white flour, you know, the pasta, the white bread, that kind of thing, and lean into the more complex carbohydrates like oatmeal, you know, brown rice, beans, sweet potatoes, even white potato, because it's like the whole food, squashes. Those kind of carbohydrates are much better for you. So you get your protein intake up, you switch to complex carbohydrates, and you get those good fats in. You know, some of those fats can be actually excellent for balancing your hormones. So things like oily fish, you know, avocado, olive oil, nuts. Those are great non-inflammatory foods as well. The number 3 symptom of menopause, like I didn't know what was going on and why I was getting this, is joint pain. So I was getting hip pain. Many women get knee pain. I mean, I get so many comments and messages about knee pain, and people think it's going to like prevent you from doing exercise, but it absolutely can get better with the right sort of exercise. And you might have back pain, neck pain and shoulder pain, and all of those seem to get a whole lot worse. Your joints are kind of stiff, aren't they? And you know, there are some supplementations you can take. So there's like cod liver oil, there's collagen. You know, you want to be doing gentle stretching, and things like yoga can be really, really helpful. I also love to build in strength training, which sounds counterintuitive, but if you're building the muscle around your joints, you're actually going to have less pain in your joints. And we'll talk a little bit more about strength training on the 4th symptom of menopause. So the 4th symptom of menopause is insulin resistance. That's when your pancreas becomes less effective at controlling your blood sugar levels. So your blood sugar levels can be all over the place. You do find your body responds less well to things like refined sugar and refined carbohydrates, which we talked about earlier. And what happens when you become insulin resistant? Well, it can lead to all kinds of modern day diseases like type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's is another one. Also, what's going to happen is you're going to store more fat around your midsection when you become more insulin resistant. And the way to tackle insulin resistance, guess what the best exercise is? It's actually lifting weights. So, strength training means that your body's going to get better because it's got muscle on it at controlling your blood sugar levels. So that's the first thing you need to do, is get in strength training 3 or 4 times a week. As I've discussed earlier, you want to lean into complex carbs and cut out like refined sugar and refined carbohydrates like white pasta and white bread. You want to fill up your plate with lots of veggies, because that's going to sort of keep you fuller for longer. Especially the low carb veggies are absolutely fantastic. Even the starchy vegetables are good because they're better than the refined carbohydrates that I've discussed, like sugar, refined sugar and white flour. And timing matters, so eat your larger meals at the start of the day and kind of taper it off towards the end of the day, because your insulin sensitivity is going to be better at the start of the day. The number 5 symptom that is rarely talked about of menopause that's going to cause a massive amount of weight gain and real difficulty to lose weight, and that is inflammation. You will experience a massive amount of inflammation in your body. Now, we talked about joint pain, but that is a form of inflammation in your body. So other forms of inflammation are like bloating, water retention. Do you find you get that? I got like a ton of like water retention when I was going through perimenopause. You know, that's when it's actually not a good idea to get on the scale, because you can have a lot of water retention in your body at certain times of the month and certain times of the day. So you want to be getting on the scale, if you do get on the scale, early on in the day, for example, because if you've got water retention, you can't really see what your genuine weight is. And so inflammation can come in many forms, but you're going to have tons of it when you hit perimenopause and menopause. And it's going to become really frustrating because it's uncomfortable, isn't it? It's uncomfortable if you get bloating, water retention and joint pain, you know, and you're finding you're getting digestion issues that just come out of the blue. With me, I never had digestion issues. I had the constitution of an ox when I was younger, and then all of a sudden I was going for months, if not years, really finding I was getting this intolerance to certain foods like dairy that I'd never had before. So there are there are 3 things you can do about this. So you want to look at the food you're eating. So really look at incorporating one type of fermented food every day. So it could be things like sauerkraut, kimchi, low sugar kombucha, because we've just discussed we don't want too much sugar, but kombucha's a drink, isn't it? You can have certain types of yogurt that are, you know, really great for like your gut health and fermentation. So look at those fermented foods, incorporate one of those per day. Then you can do a probiotic and a prebiotic. So these are all things that are going to help with your gut health and therefore reduce inflammation in your body. So a probiotic, you take that once a day, and then a digestive enzyme or a prebiotic, you take that before or during meals, and it can really aid your digestion. I know I was experiencing this in perimenopause, and that really helped, the fermented foods and the supplementation. The number 3 thing is eating non-inflammatory foods. So they're things like berries, tomatoes. We discussed avocado, olive oil, green tea, 70% cocoa, dark chocolate. They're just to name a few, but you can look up anti-inflammatory foods and incorporate them daily into your diet. And don't forget actually that lack of sleep can also cause inflammation in your body. One of my incredible clients, Stephanie Conaway, put all of this into practice and lost 7 inches off her waist and almost 20 pounds in a matter of 8 weeks. And she also bagged herself $10,000 as part of my 8-week transformation challenge. So let's hear from Stephanie now.
I went from 180.7 pounds to 162.4 pounds in body fat weight. And I went from 37.5 inches in my waist to 29.5 inches in my waist. That's 18.4 pounds lost in general. And then 8 pounds, or I'm sorry, 8 inches off my waist. My original why was I wanted to be pain-free, no more pain in my feet, my legs, my knees, all of that. And then secondly, I wanted to be able to walk in a store and buy any kind of clothing that I wanted to buy without feeling insecure or self-conscious. But what I realized is those were great whys, and they still are like the icing on the cake. But I went from outcome based whys to be more in the present. So I went from like, what can I have in the future to, ooh, I wonder how many jump squats I can do in a row without stopping, or how many push-ups can I do without having to take a break, or, oh my gosh, how much weight can I do today? Because I've been increasing the weight in whatever exercise progressively over the week. So it became more, instead of the future, it became just about the present.
Want to bag yourself an incredible $20,000 and a banging new body, just like Stephanie did? Well, she bagged $10,000 because the prize money was a bit less when she did it. Then you can take part in my 8-week transformation challenge and follow the blueprint that's worked for over 10,000 women now to actually tackle those menopause symptoms and reduce your belly fat and look most incredible you've looked in maybe the last 5 to 10 years. And importantly, learn how you can work with your hormones and not against them. Click the link in the description to find out more and sign up today. And if it's not going on when you click the link, you can actually register with your name and your email address, and I will email you when the challenge goes live.